Welcome back to TalkNorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. I'm in Fort Myers at the ballpark. You will hear some ballpark noises and sounds behind me. Michael Russo is, of course, covering the Minnesota Wild. This is the Russo-Souhan Show, our hockey show on TalkNorth.com, the popular and growing Minnesota Sports Podcast Network. Quick thank you to our sponsors, Twill and the Edina Galleria, FixologyRepair.com, Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent Champlin. Also, we have a promo with Bite Squad. We'll tell you more about that later, but basically, if you haven't ordered from Bite Squad before, you get your first delivery fee waived if you use the promo code TalkNorth, one word, all caps. Thanks to Brandon, our producer. You can follow us on Twitter at TalkNorthPod. Please download before you listen, and if you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach us at TalkNorthPodcast@gmail.com. Let's just start here, Michael. I haven't seen you in a while. I've been on the road in Florida. I've watched a little bit of Wild stuff, but I'm kind of detached. So just tell me what's going on with the team right now.
Well, I mean, I think our last podcast was the day before the Wild played in Tampa, and then they go out and they shut out the Tampa Bay Lightning 3-0, and all's good. And then they do what they often do. They go to Florida the next night, and maybe they were exhausted after playing 5 games in 7 nights, but then they have just a terrible loss in Florida, and then they come home and get shut out by the San Jose Sharks. So, they reel off points in 8 straight games, and they barely climb because that's the way this league is. And now they've lost 2 in a row, and they find themselves, at least going into tonight's game against the Dallas Stars, on the outside looking into the playoffs, have to deal with Chicago coming up hard from the rear, Colorado Avalanche, and obviously the red-hot Arizona Coyotes ahead of them. And now they've put themselves in a position here where if they lose to the Stars tonight, they are 5 points back of the Stars. So this is just a gigantic game tonight. And the Wild, it just is proof positive that they cannot afford to lose the rest of the way. I mean, they've got to figure out a way to continue on a streak where they are winning, in these final 12 games, 9 or 10 of them, or this could be very difficult to make the playoffs.
I know hockey fans, maybe more than in any other sport, judge effort and character. And they feel like if their team's winning, then it's a lot largely because people have bought in and are making maximum effort. And if the team's losing, that effort is lacking. Do you agree with that? Is it effort? Is it intensity and those things? Or is it just the nature of the game that you're going to have, spurts and lulls?
Well, I mean, with this team, definitely spurts and lulls. Look, this team works hard, maybe save for the Florida game where they just they gave up a goal in the first minute, and then it was just hard climb from there. But most games, I mean, even the San Jose game, you can't say that they didn't work hard. Maybe some guys. There are some guys on this team that could give more. One that just popped in my head. But I mean, most of the guys, you see the effort on an every night basis, and so I just think that. This is a team right now that's got a lot of new faces, subtracted some important pieces. And so right now the chemistry at times isn't there. And I think the 6-0-2 streak was a bit of smoke and mirrors at times. But they are a team that if they don't have all 20 guys going, including their goaltender, they don't win. And right now this Arizona team is absolutely for real. And so that puts a lot of pressure on Minnesota to really continue to win here.
Do you think they're going to make the playoffs?
I don't. I really don't. I just don't. I just think that they put them. That I look at them as a team that doesn't have a ton of firepower right now. Hasn't gotten great goaltending, especially at home. And right now, this homestand. I mean, to me, they got to go 4-0. and the rest of the way here after losing to San Jose. Because obviously they go to Washington, Raleigh back-to-back. They rarely play well in Washington, if ever. And then they've got 4 days off between the Nashville game and the time that they play in Vegas. So right away, the standings are going to become precarious. And, I just think it's going to be very – excuse me, is it Nashville that they play next week? I can't even remember. Yeah, it is. And so they've got to me to just continue to reel off points here, but I just see that there's no room for error, and this is a team that has had a lot of error in its game for a long time this season.
How's Dubnyk playing right now?
I mean, on the road he's been good. The Florida game not very good, but he's got to play better at home, and it's that simple. I mean, he's one of the, if not, he is actually the best road goalie in the NHL since December 29th, and he's near the bottom of the league in home statistics, and that correlates obviously with the team, but they need more from him. I definitely don't think that he was the issue the other night. And they've tonight they're playing a guy in Ben Bishop that's coming off 3 straight shutouts. They've got to get in his face, and that's something they didn't do a lot of against Martin Jones the other night.
Anything else you want to get to? I think today's a good day to do a lot of Twitter questions. Is there another topic you want to get to before we go to Twitter questions?
No.
All right. And by the way, the announcing is beginning at the ballpark. Brandon, let me know if that's too problematic. But let's quickly thank Twill in the Edina Galleria. I'm wearing a lot of the Johnny O and Peter Millar stuff I bought there down here in Florida. Time to go buy golf stuff. They will always have great golf stuff in the spring, as well as all the stuff that works well year-round.
Jim usually doesn't like to shop for clothes. I don't like it when he shops for clothes either, because he used to buy stuff I'd want to throw out. That's why I'm so glad he's found Twill in the Edina Galleria. He likes shopping there because of the comfortable environment and the friendly staff. He finds clothes that actually fit him properly and are high-quality brands that will look great for years, whether he's golfing or working. Our favorites so far are Peter Millar, Johnny O, and Barber. We spend our money at Twill because we love the clothes and we love the no-pressure shopping. Drop by Twill in the Edina Galleria for the best shopping experience and best clothes you'll find in the Twin Cities.
From Justin Wiggins, can I get my money back for my ticket for Monday's game against the Sharks? I still have my receipt. No, I'll take that question. From Derek Felska, are season Minnesota Wild ticket sales down drastically, and is that what prompted an address from owner Craig Leopold? Also have some non-injured players mailed it in your opinion, this season?
Well, first of all, on the season tickets, I mean, I got to think that it's going to be, whether it's down or whether they're having to really battle to sell tickets for the first time in a long time. I've got to definitely think that that's the case. In terms of the Craig Leopold video, I mean, he always sends some sort of letter. I think he did last year too, if I remember. This way this time they decided to go with the video route. And I think a lot of it was because they wanted him to talk directly at the fans. This is a team that in the last month and a half has traded Niederreiter, traded Charlie Coyle, traded Mikhail Granlund. On that day, you could tell in that video that Craig Leopold thought that Jason Zucker was traded because he mentioned trades in plural, and Zucker was not even mentioned in the video, so he thought that was happening. And I'll be quite frank, I think that he thought that Eric Stahl was getting traded. I think I've mentioned on the podcast before that I have it under authority that Paul Fenton actually turned down a trade with the Boston Bruins for a first-round pick and a player that would have been Eric Stahl. So they almost traded a lot of guys that day. And all of a sudden they added Fiala, and Stahl stuck around. And at that point, I think that Craig knew that because he mentioned Stahl in the video, but he didn't mention Zucker, and I think it's because Zucker was almost gone. So, I think that was a big reason. In terms of guys mailing it in, I mean, I don't think that anybody consciously goes and mails it in, but there are guys that just haven't played very well for this team from the start of the year, and a couple of those guys were traded. And now, they're in a position where they've got a bunch of new bodies and a team that's trying to find each other. And we'll see. I mean, Donato, Fiala, they've got a long way to go. And I think that they'll be much, much better players next year. And the hope with Fiala that he starts finishing on these golden chances that he makes. Aberg, I just have trouble believing that he will be back. He's a Group 2 free agent. I just don't know why you qualify something like this. I'll give you an example. Yesterday at practice, Aberg actually skates over to Bruce Boudreau to say, hey, at the end of practice, do they normally skate? And is that something that I have to do? And Bruce is like, no, that's an optional thing. So Aberg leaves the ice. And then today they have an optional morning skate, and Aberg's not even on the ice. So, look, it's an optional, but what does that tell you? If it tells me that a guy that just doesn't give a darn. And so I just think that if this team's healthy and Eck and Cunnin comes back, I mean, to me, it's like Aberg shouldn't even be in the lineup.
If this team misses the playoffs, will they regret having not traded Stahl and or Zucker?
I don't know about Zucker. I mean, to me, he's got to be, if Zucker is as good as he is on this team, you need his goal scoring. Stahl, you could have gotten him back this offseason. So I do think that's, to go and just give him the extension and not trade him when you could have gotten a first-round pick and a player, I definitely think. And then watching also the way he's playing right now, that's something that they could regret. Because, again, he was available this summer as a free agent. So,
yeah, I mean, when I was covering the Twins, they did that with Aguilera. They traded him away knowing he really wanted to come back, and they got a little value out of that. Let's thank BiteSquad.com, Bite Squad on the app. Download the Bite Squad app. Get hundreds of local restaurants delivered right to your door. They've been partnering with Talk North for a while. We've done a lot of promos. Right now, we just want you to let you know that you can always use Talk North as a promo code to get your first delivery at Bite Squad free. But even if you've been using Bite Squad for a long time, just remember the benefits. You can also subscribe to their Bite Squad membership program to get unlimited deliveries from restaurants within a 4-mile radius for just $6 a month, $5.99 a month. I know what I use it for. Family meals, so you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean. Great way to order good food if you're going to feed your kids something else. Business lunches in your office if you're too busy to leave. Breakfast in bed, date night when the kids are asleep. And again, you don't have to, no dirty dishes. It makes it all very easy. Get food for your mood. Don't settle for frozen pizza. And remember, Talk North is the promo code. If you haven't used Bite Squad before, you get your first delivery free. And tell your friends about it, too. We'd appreciate it. From Kevin on Twitter, what has happened to Sealer as of late? Since his first healthy scratch, he hasn't seemed the same.
Yeah, he definitely, even before his healthy scratch in Buffalo, I just didn't understand why he was taking that lineup. But you're right, since then, he doesn't look the same. And in Florida, he didn't play very, very well at all. But look, I would have him in the lineup all the time over Anthony Bitetto. And I've got to be honest, I think that we're going to see Bitetto scratched a lot here in the upcoming games. I think that his last straw was the other night. Against the San Jose Sharks. And but you're right. Sealer just had, look, he's a second-year player, and really he's technically a rookie. So he's kind of a first-year player, and he's going through some growing pains. He's had inconsistent partners, things like that. So, he played really well with Nate Prosser. They got rid of Prosser, and that's part of the repercussions. We've talked a lot here about what it did to add Anthony Bitetto and kind of the chain of reactions of things that have happened since, not just the fact that he hasn't played well. And one of the byproducts of it was it meant that Prosser left. And for some reason, Sealer and Prosser seem to play very well together. It's probably because Nate is such a simple player to play with. And now all of a sudden, and plus at the beginning of the year, he was playing well with Patterson. But we'll see. They definitely need Nick to be much, much better. He's not been the same player since that incredible game that he had in Colorado, where he blocked all those shots right before the All-Star break.
Good question from Eric Vigo. Did covering the prep beat over the weekend bring you back your Sun Sentinel roots? How happy was Josh Harding to see you in the media room again?
Yeah, it was cool seeing both Josh Harding, and it was cool covering that event. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, they put on an incredible show, the State High School League, for that event. It's a shame there was a blizzard outside. I think there would have been a lot more people in the arena. And the one thing I will say, and I don't know if it's the exception to the rule, but how well spoken those Eden Prairie and Edina kids were after the games. I just remember when I was younger, covering preps, it took so much to get quality quotes out of people, but the press conference was awesome, and those kids, both the Loudon Hogg kid for Edina, the goaltender, Peter Colby, the hero of the game, and Kevin Delaney. They were just so well spoken in their post game. And same thing, I couldn't believe how well spoken and mature Jack Jensen was in his post game. Here's a guy that wanted to obviously go out on top. With Eden Prairie, had an unbelievable chance to put that game away and make it 2-0, and he comes out and he faces the media, and he was just really classy.